Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new Toa Talk. And today we are going to be going over your Bionicle hot takes. So if you can do me a favor and hit like on the video, we'll just jump right into it. I've been quite tired lately from work and things like that, so apologies in advance if my voice doesn't pull through for you guys. There's definitely going to be some parts that I stumble because with these podcasts, I always record them all in one take, and I will edit gaps here and there just to make sure that you guys are enjoying the whole video. But yeah, let's just hop right into your Bionicle hot takes. So the very first one is by Boss Man Theory. The Bionicle dream was never funny. It's just blatant nostalgia pandering. So what I think he's referring to is the meme where it shows like the child in the store with like all the Bionicles on shelves, and it's just like the dream happened again. I don't really know what this guy's trying to say. I don't really think it's a hot... I don't really think it's a hot take. I think that's just like a meme, and you could just say... I think what he's trying to get at is that the meme's not funny. But like, okay, alright, that's a hot take, I suppose, but... Darth Gabias, oh, that's a very interesting name. Nocturne is the best character. I mean, okay. I mean, I like Nocturne. Nocturne's kind of cool. Is he my favorite character? No. But I quite like Nocturne. So, hopefully you Nocturne fans enjoy that hot take. But let me know in the comments what your favorite Bionicle character is, or what the best Bionicle character is. Next hot take is by Secret Kingdom. LEGO should bring back Bionicle. I don't care how much it costs. It literally saved the company. And this is getting into a little bit too long for me to read, but basically he's going on a rant about LEGO. Now, just because I think LEGO can bring back Bionicle whenever they want, I don't think that it means that they should bring back Bionicle whenever they want. If you are going to bring back Bionicle, you need to give it the care that it deserves. Otherwise, we're going to get G2 all over again. And that's not going to be good for anyone. It might bring some new interest to the brand. You might get some new fans in here or there. But it's just... that could... I don't know. I think that might not be the greatest mentality to go about it for. Now, this person also says that you can even make an 18+ brand. Now, what comes to mind when you say 18+ is like system style sets. And I already have a big opinion on Bionicle and system. I think making the landscapes and architecture in system is cool. Like, I would love to see some of that. Do I think they'll sell well? Not really. But Bionicle is like the buildable figure. Like, that's what everyone knows Bionicle as. Like, they're like the biomechanical being, robot entity things that have gears. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I would like to see 18+ sets. I think they might price people out, and that's kind of the problem with modern LEGO. Not to go on a mini rant, but like with modern LEGO, almost everything is an 18+ set now, or at least everything that's like worth buying, and they're all super hyper expensive, and they've kind of screwed out their old audience, like how we were when we were kids, because now they're appealing to the kids that grew up as adults rather than appealing to the new kids. And the thing is with LEGO, everyone enjoys it. It doesn't matter like who it's targeted towards. Like, everyone can enjoy it. So they shouldn't sacrifice their future generation for the current one. They should just do what's best for the brand moving forward and looking on to the future. That's just my opinion. But yeah. Joey says, I like the Kordak blaster more than the Zamispheres. Now, the Kordak looks really, really cool. If I were to choose one or the other to put on a mock, I would choose the Kordak just purely for looks. But functionality, you cannot deny that the Zamisphere is much better as a function. But I mean, hey, I love the Kordaks. The Kordaks look cool. We'll probably never see anything like it again from LEGO. But I mean, hey, Zamispheres are pretty cool too. I like both. That's just an opinion. I wouldn't call that like a hot take. That's just like a, all right, cool, bro. You know, you do your thing. This next one is by Tuxedo, and I'm not going to butcher that last part, so sorry about that, but your comment's on screen anyway. Bionicle should have stayed a sub-theme of Technic, and it should have kept the gear and play functions. So, G2 actually did bring back the gear and play functions, which I think really benefited G2. It's the only thing I like about G2, honestly. But, yeah, no, I completely agree. It should have stayed as a sub-theme of Technic. I think it should have mainly stayed with, like, a lot of the earlier molds and then tried to, like, make use of them in different ways rather than having to make a whole new piece for other things down the line. Because I've kind of realized it's like a mock maker. I don't need to, like, 3D design a brand new piece for every mock that I want to make. Like, I can just make it work with Technic, or I can even use System if I have to, but, like, obviously I'd prefer just to use Technic. It just helps with the aesthetic that I try to go for. But no, I completely agree, and I think if, you know, Bionicle ever were to come back, it should play by Technic's rules and use those Technic parts to really save a lot of money and really push the creativity of Technic. Technic has been around for a very long time, and it's always felt very, very underutilized. And I think bringing back Bionicle through Technic again would be a really great way to have both brands flourish. Alright, Vaitiru says, "Look, the Glatorian arc was peak and you can't deny it." I will deny it. I actually like the Glatorian setting. I like the sets for the most part. You know, like, there are Anika builds, but all the Titans are really cool, except for maybe Toa Matanui. Like, Toa Matanui is unique because he's so big, but he's just a big guy and he doesn't really hold any story relevance. He's just a big, cool set. But I don't own him, so I can't really speak to that too well. Yeah, the story was very, very weak in 2009. And with how quick things had to wrap up in 2010, there's a lot of things that they introduced that just put more things into question. And I think it probably would have just been better if Bionicle closed out in 2008. And instead of the Toa Matanui, we should have gotten a Great Spirit Robot. That's my hot take. Stewart has said, "The Red Star twist about bringing most of the dead back greatly diminished the impacts of several events in the story." I agree. Now, luckily, the Red Star thing wasn't fleshed out too much. Greg never really got the chance to flesh it out the way that he wanted to. I know his intent was to have, like, a Dead Space vibe where there's a bunch of zombies of characters that you like, and, you know, they're trying to attack the new characters. I think that's lame. I think that's not a good way to go about a story, to try to, like, pander to the stuff that the old fans already know, while shoving in some of the new, or even some of the older characters back in there again. Especially when a lot of these guys haven't even met each other. Like let's say that these characters, like, met or knew one another before the other one became, like, zombies. Then you would have more of, like, you know, of a story reason to do that. As far as I remember, none of the previous characters met any of the guys that, like, died and became zombies. So it's just for the fans. Like, and I don't think you should prioritize fan service over telling a story. Do I like fan service? Yes, but I don't condone it when it kind of ruins or diminishes a lot of the very important moments in the story. Like, Toa Khan, my favorite character in Bionicle, and one of my favorite fictional characters. Like, he had a perfect death. Perfect death. And then, like, his backstory was fleshed out. And that's perfect. Just go back in the past and add more to the past, just so when you make those moments that happened in a release order and have a lot more impact. Like, I think that's a good thing to do. But he has this perfect death, and then you bring him back to life just so when he can be a zombie of, like, an old guy. I don't know, that just kind of sucks. Like, it's honestly kind of sad and pathetic. You're just going to see, like, some Toa or whoever they were going to have fight the zombies, like, beat up this little old man, like, build that's just, I don't know. I think that's just kind of like, I don't know, I just don't like it. I'll just sum it up like that. Alright, we got IDS5621 following up Vaitiru's hot take. The Glatorian arc was not peak and was a forced tacked on extra to extend the story of Bionicle's lifespan. 2008 was supposed to be the conclusion before the franchise took a break. Faber confirmed. I mean, that's not a hot take. You got the Faber confirmation, so yeah, I think everyone agrees for sure. Probably a colder take, but I know there's a lot of people that really love 2009. But yeah, we'll revisit 2009 later because there's a lot of hot takes about 2009. It's probably the most controversial year of Bionicle, honestly, just based on all the comments that I've gotten. Out of 40 comments, a lot of them are about 2009. Two Potatoes says, the entire storyline is kind of mid, but it has a lot of good ideas. I don't agree. As I've gotten older, I've explored more and more of Bionicle's story that I maybe missed out on when I was a kid, because I wouldn't go on Bionicle.com and read all the stuff because, frankly, I didn't know that a lot of that stuff existed. And maybe I didn't have access to all the books because, my parents wouldn't let me buy everything at the book fair all the time, or maybe my school library didn't have them. So, as I've gotten older since G1 ended, I've continued to expand my knowledge of the story. So I know all the main stuff, and I've read 90% of the serials. There might be one or two that I'm missing that I haven't read yet, but I consider myself a pretty savvy Bionicle lore knowledgeable person. I wouldn't call myself an expert, but I have a really good understanding of it, in my opinion. I know there's going to be a lot of people that will probably shit on me for not knowing certain things, but I mean, hey, we learn new things every day, and, you gotta touch grass once in a while, so sorry that I don't know everything, but I know most of it. Anyway, not to try to, defend myself before someone says something. Yeah, I just don't agree that the entire storyline is mid. I think you can say that some parts of the storyline are mid, like the idea with the Red Star, that's pretty mid. But saying the entire storyline is mid, you're goofy. You're goofy for that one, Potatoes. That's an easy way to make everyone dislike you at the party. Callan LOF has said, the Glatorian arc should be retconned out of existence if a soft reboot ever happens. The societal structure, a car being prototype Tahu, and the tribes, including Jungle, are just as simple as G2's bad setup. It's no shock, just 1 year of it killed the theme. Yeah, I definitely do not. So I'm going to explain a little bit of how I experienced the 2009 arc back when it was coming out, because I was a fan since 05, 06. So I caught up on the main stuff, and then I experienced the new stuff as it was happening. 2009 just felt like a very big distraction. I really wish that we saw what was going on in the Great Spirit Robot after it got taken over from Makuta. After Makuta took it over and Madanui escaped through the Ignika to Baramagna. I think we should have had two storylines going on. At least in the books, focus on the Matoran universe, and then with the sets you can focus on the Glatorian stuff, because a lot of the Glatorian stuff, honestly, it's very, very surface level. If you just know what's going on with on the back of the toy box, then you basically know what was going on in the story, aside from the weird Greg retcons that were the worst parts of 2009 anyway. So if you cut out the fat and you're just looking at the Glatorian stuff, and then you're looking at what's happening inside the robot, you get the best of both worlds. But they didn't do that. They just went all in on the Glatorian stuff, and they showed what was going on inside once or twice, but that was either in 2010 or right before 2010. So yeah, the Glatorian stuff just was not good as a story thing. It do I think that it has potential? It does. It does really have a lot of potential, but Greg was under a lot of pressure from Lego at the time, and a lot of that stuff was rushed or unfinished, or just wasn't really well thought out of. A lot of the stuff wasn't really in his control at that point. He was just being told what was happening as he was getting stuff out, so I can't blame Greg 100%. But yeah, in terms of it being retconned or just like ignored if a soft reboot ever happens, yeah, no, I mean, it's probably the least important parts of G1, or like I shouldn't say the least important, because I guess like if you want to go by like the canon stuff, it is semi-important, but do I think it's relevant or should be relevant? No. So you can just ignore it and go ahead. I don't want to say that like you should pretend that they never happened. But yeah, it just, I don't know. It doesn't hold a place going on, because the whole point of the Glatorian stuff in the first place was to basically soft reboot the theme to bring in a new audience, and they didn't do that because they had it close early on. So yeah. Alex said, the Toa Hordika are better than the Metru. You are insane. I'm moving on to the next one. That one's batshit crazy. You're too much for me, bro. I don't like that one. That's probably the hottest take on here that everyone can universally agree on. I don't know. Just how do you not like the Metru build? And you prefer the Hordika one that doesn't even have like a head mold? Like, I don't know, dude. You're crazy. Alright, Parallel Hologram, I think that's how you say your name, has said, the red star made perfect sense as a function, and this is too long to read, but basically it recaps the stuff that I said earlier about the zombies, and he was just saying that would have been good, and bring back the old characters of friends or mentors would have added more of a gut punch. Maybe to the reader, but I think that's just cheap to do as a writer. Like, as a fellow writer, I just don't think that was a great idea, and I'm glad we never got that, because then we would have had to go buy a lot of that stuff. So, yeah, happy it didn't happen. Max Newey says, we don't need a G3. Yeah, I mean, like, a lot of people aren't going to like hearing that, but yeah, we don't really need one. I don't need a G3 to keep enjoying G1, because if we got G3 and I didn't like G3, I would just stick by G1. You know, if we got G3 and I liked it, then cool, I would talk about G3 on the channel, but we'll see what happens in the future if we ever get a G3. But yeah, I don't think we need one, because if it's good, it's good. If it's not good, then it's not good. To play devil's advocate, I think we do need something with Bionicle to help with the online Bionicle space, but I spend less and less time on the Bionicle space nowadays. I just have better things to do with my time, and there's a lot of people that don't deserve the time that I put in on the platform, frankly. Like, they... I don't know. I know I sound like an asshole when I say that, but I don't know, like, I think a lot of people have to realize, like, the impact of interacting on the space. Like, if you're not having fun interacting on the space, then just get off the space. And I've had less and less fun as time has gone on interacting with the Discord servers and with the Instagram accounts and things like that. In terms of the YouTube stuff, it's a mixed bag. It's funny because YouTube is usually the most dividing spot for a lot of fandom properties. However, I noticed with Bionicle specifically that people will show up for, the Bionicle stuff no matter who makes it. Now, you could argue whether that's a result of people just wanting something Bionicle related and they are starving and they are thirsty for something Bionicle related. However, I don't know. I really think you should just do what you want to do, interact with the people that you want to interact with, and just do your stuff. Don't focus on the social aspect, because frankly it doesn't exist. The social pool is like less than 10 people, really, if you think about it. Because even some of the people commenting, they'll pop in like once in a while. Maybe they'll pop back in like a year or two from now. But like, I don't recognize a lot of these names, but these guys are all subscribed to me apparently. But yeah, just enjoy time around the things that you want to do and around the people that you want to be with. That's my advice for today. Okay. Pixela says the Makuta species shouldn't have been a thing. Now, this is an old hot take from back in the day. And it's more of a hot take now because more people have come around to the idea. Basically, the whole idea of this hot take is that Makuta Pterodax should have just stayed as Makuta, and he should have been that evil Lovecraftian entity, like how he was in the Manui Online game. That's how he should have been 100% all the time. I actually quite like Makuta's backstory, and I like the idea of someone developing into that Minog idea or aspect. I know that, like, in Minog, like, with how he's portrayed, that's more of, like, an isolated thing in the canon. But I've always looked at that as something that he has capability of doing. So, with Makuta, the way that I look at it, we get a smorgasbord of stuff. You know, you can prefer which parts you like. That's all good. But we get a little bit of everything, and I think the bad is very, very little with the species thing. I just don't think the species should have been called Makuta. I think Makuta Pterodax should have just been called Makuta. And then, you know, maybe it's revealed that he does have a species where they have similar abilities, but he just happens to be the most powerful one because he's, like, the smartest, and because, I don't know, Manui had favoritism with them or something like that, because, you know, brother stuff. And then, yeah, so as we continue on with G1's story, when you read past 2001, Makuta claiming that he was Manui's brother, obviously, like, that point gets more and more ridiculous as you read. But I think there's different meaning in it. You know, if you just take out the on-the-nose meaning of it, and you start looking deeper, there's a lot of really interesting story stuff there. I have ideas for it. Maybe I'll share them one day. But yeah, I think there is potential. Pixela also says gender should not have been just exclusive to the elements. So basically, female shouldn't have only just been water and lightning. It should have also been, you know, like every gender can go with any element. And I think that's a fair hot take. Honestly, it's probably a cold one these days. What I like about the females only being lightning and water is because, like, those are two of, like, some of the most powerful elements. And the reason why females were given water and lightning was to put the other ones in check if, you know, things were to kind of go wrong. There was something that I read where it's like, this is something that Greg said, I think. And I like the idea that, like, you know, like, women are kind of more like, they can be stronger in the headspace, so that's why they have elements like lightning that's, like, so, you know, powerful of a thing. Or, like, with water, if, I don't know, if, like, the toe of fire, or, like, I don't know, the toe of earth or stone or whatever is, like, getting out of hand, then you just, like, you know, wipe them out. You know, the women being more level-headed is an interesting idea. Is that a stereotype? Depends on who you ask. But yeah, it's honestly probably a bit outdated to think that way. But yeah, it's just, it would, I don't know. If you go by someone's headcanon or like a mock that they make and they swap the genders around, you know, like, who cares? It's all good. Like, just have fun with it. It's Lego. You can do what you want to do, make what you want to make with it. And yeah, I mean, like, with having the genders be open to any element, you do open the doors for more characters. Even, like, Little Brotherhood Studios, who's making Project Toa, even he took the gender exclusivity thing out. So if a G3 were to happen, most likely, you know, any gender is going to fall under any element. So I don't think we're going to have the G1 trait of that if BIONICLE does come back. But again, what I was trying to say from out of all that, I don't mind the idea of some gender exclusivity if there's good reason for it. Like, Greg had, like, an interesting reason for it, so That's what I liked. But obviously, I'm not going to die on a hill over it. Like, just, who cares? Whatever. Whatever leads to a better product or a better story and encourages more creativity, that's what I'm down with. JSL Browning has said, 2005 was good, and Vakama's arc is why. Despite Greg's apprehension towards incorporating it into his novels, he did a really good job representing someone's mental health deteriorating, and it makes sense Vakama is the most interesting character in the story. I don't know if he is the most interesting character in the story, honestly. Like, he's one of my favorites, but I don't think he's, like, the most interesting. Maybe it's because we've explored every possible aspect of his character, and there's a lot of mystery with the other ones that I like, but I do actually like that Vakama was the one that went bad in 2005. I don't think this is a hot take. I think more people agree with this than not. The only person that seems to disagree with this is Greg. He wanted Matau for some reason, but if anything, that would have just fallen into, like, the Liwa thing, where it's like, yeah, the green guy goes bad for, like, whatever reason, something that's out of his control or whatever. I think that would have been weak. I think it adds more, like what JSL Browning said, more complexity and interesting aspects to Vakama's character. And honestly, if you look at what he went through with his team and how his team treated him, at the very least in the films, he was somewhat justified to get fed up with them. But the good part is that he did end up going back to his team. And a lot of people don't talk about this, but Matau actually has an interesting arc as well from this. And this might have been a side effect of Greg being like, oh, well, I wanted Matau to do this, so now, I still want to have Matau do something. So, again, kind of goes to show why a clash of the creatives could actually lead to a good thing. Where you have two characters going through very different stuff, starting from very different places. I don't know. I like 2005. I think it's better than 2009, honestly. No, that's my hot take, but yeah, 2009 is mid. Alright, Supreme Leader Kylo says, BIONICLE community is as cringe as the Brony community. I don't really have anything to say on either of that. I mean, I can only really speak for the BIONICLE community, but the BIONICLE community, it's a mixed bag. It's just such a small group of people, and things get around really easily, and it's really easy to get tired of the same people that you see all the time. I don't know, it's like Homer Simpson when he sees Ned Flanders that lives next to him. He's like, oh, Flanders. In reality, Flanders is not that bad, but Homer just, has it out for him for whatever reason. Probably it's because he sees him all the time. I mean, there's a lot of shit that goes on in the BIONICLE community. There's a lot of people that I don't want to talk to, and don't want to talk to anymore. But, yeah, I can't really speak ill of the bronies, dude. I'm not like that. I'm not going to talk shit about another fandom, especially one that I'm not in. Yeah, I don't know. I've actually seen, a documentary on brony culture. Back when Netflix was, when it had a very, very weak catalog, when it came out in Canada, I got it in 2011 or something like that, which is already late to the game. But America, you guys, your Netflix back in the 2010s, that shit was crazy. I had to switch to a different DNS code on my PS3 to get American Netflix. But anyway, what I'm saying is with the brony stuff, I mean, there's a lot of parallels. You guys have OCs. There's the dynamic of teamwork and friendship and things like that. I'm not going to deny that there's a lot of similarities, but again, I'm just not going to talk about the negative stuff because it's not my place to. Maybe if you're a brony and you're listening to this, you can elaborate more on that or chip in your opinion. But again, I don't have anything to say about that. I mean, I don't know enough about them. I'm not a part of the fandom, so why should I do that? I don't want the bronies going after me. There's more bronies than there are Bionicle fans, bro. And to top that off, Supreme Leader Kylo said, Bionicle will never come back. I don't know if that's a hot take. I think that's just more like a statement / prediction. But I mean, is it like the hottest take out there? No. I think there is a very good chance that Bionicle will never come back. But yeah, I don't know. Only time will tell, bro. I can't really say. I can't really elaborate on either of those. Connor Owen has said, G2 had the best toys, and it wasn't even close. In particular, the Masters were the best lineup of Toa toys. Now, I think we touched upon this earlier a little bit, but I really love that G2 brought back the gear function, and they probably did the gear function the best way, where they maximized posability with the ball joints while having the gear function, which combines basically every element from the Toamata, the Toanuva, the Toametru, and the Anika all in one package. However, if G2 did have the best toys, why were they canceled so soon? That is my question to you. Yeah, I don't know. I just would have preferred if they made more affordable sets and have those elements in there in not as big of a way. Because honestly, G2, they feel much more like Hero Factory mocs land Bionicle sets. Again, the toy functions themselves were peak, but I've seen a lot of people incorporate those in mocs. So, yeah, if Bionicle ever does come back, I hope they do include that gear function that G2 had and that posability that G2 had. But, brother, they needed that G1 art direction. Like, I mean, you can say whatever for the story of G2. Like, you know me, I have things to say about G2's story. I do not like G2 one bit, aside from what I just complimented it on. But as a toy, you need to have it look cool, and you need to have it to do cool things. G2 had it so that they could do cool things. I don't really know how cool they looked, in my opinion, but, like, again, if they had that Faber touch, I think G2 would have lasted a lot longer, in my opinion. It's either Midgie or Miggy has said, the community should move along from Bionicle and make their own stuff. I know there's talent in the Bionicle community, so why not just do a new thing? And, you know, like, I mean, like, this is what I'm doing. Like, a lot of you have noticed, like, you know, I don't upload as much, and it's just, the simple thing is, it's like, I'm an adult. I'm working on my own stuff, creatively. That's non-Bionicle related. I like talking about Bionicle. I'm so happy that I've made a channel this big in this day and age where I can talk about Bionicle and people will listen to me about it. Because back in the day, you can only get like 1,000 subs if you made like really great stop motion videos. And to this day, I still want to do stop motion videos. I just don't have the space or the time for it. I have my live action original IP stuff I want to work on. If Lego ever came to me, or if a studio ever came to me to adapt Bionicle or to help them with Bionicle, I'd love to do it. But yeah, dude, like, I mean, I love fan projects. I think they're great. I'm not going to tell you that they're a waste of time, because honestly, they're not. Because the thing is, there are people that love drawing, but they will not be a professional artist. And that's fine, because you are enjoying what you are doing with your time. If you are enjoying what you are doing with your time, you've won life. Like, that's the most important thing that we can all strive for, is if you are enjoying what you are doing in this very moment, then you are succeeding at life. If you're enjoying that, and it's not setting you back negatively, then just keep doing it, bro. Like, whether it's a stress reliever, or whether it's like just, you know, you're improving your craft, and you're just, you know, you're not doing it out of like approval and you're making it for you because you you like what you make, then who cares if it's fan art? Like, yeah, like that's fine. Just go ahead and make it. If you have other creative ideas, then you should pursue those too. But it just depends on which one you enjoy doing more. You know, like I will always love BIONICLE, and BIONICLE is one of my favorite IPs. And I will talk about it whenever I can. There's stories I want to tell with BIONICLE, whether they're ones that Greg wrote or, you know, they're fleshing out on ideas that were in G1's story. But, you know, time will tell when I get to those, or if I get to those. But, yeah, like, I mean, focus on what you want to do, and if that falls into the category of fan films or fan art, then you keep doing that. But if you want something more than that, then take the risk and take the chance and make something original. You know, you can draw upon the essence of G1. You can draw upon the essence of, you know, G2, Hero Factory, whatever you like, frankly. And just use what you love about those past things to make something new. I don't think there's a wrong answer. It just depends on what your goals are in life and, you know, the way that you want to live. Nothing wrong with any choice that you do regarding that. Like, I still make mocs. Like, I make mocs all the time. Am I going to be a professional, like, Lego designer? Probably not. Never say never to anything. However, I think those chances are definitely below the realistic expectation. But, I mean, I keep making them. You know, like, and I do other things too. Like, I write for my own original stuff. I act for my own original stuff. I'll voice act in Ignition, you know, a BIONICLE thing. It just depends on like what's going on. But I mean, obviously, just get your priorities straight. Focus on what helps you in life the most. And yeah, I don't know. It just depends on how much time you want to set aside for play. That's kind of how I view fan films and fan art. And that's all good. Austin Nelson has said, the Toa Anika are cooler than the Mari. This is going to be a hot take for some people, but I actually agree with this. The Anika are better. I'm sorry. Like, I tried to get on the Mari train, and I do really like Mari Jaller. But, dude, I don't know. Like I know, like, people are gonna immediately jump to the clone thing, but they're just consistently so much better, dude. Color scheme wise, like looks wise, they're way more distinguishable. I know people also hate the rubber head thing. I don't love the rubber head thing. Like, if it's a one-time thing, that's all fine. Whatever. If it started the trend, then I would probably dislike them more. But their colors are just way better, bro. And some of those Mari builds, I'm sorry, but like some of them are just really whack. Like, a lot of them feel incomplete. Now, do I think that they have potential to be better than the Anika ones? Yes, for sure. I've seen a lot of like mocs and, you know, MOVs of the Mari builds, like that look that, you know, wipe the Anika out of the water. But those are mocs, you know. I've seen versions. What I think I'll try to frame this as, like, when I see a Mari mock, it is almost always better than a Anika mock. I'll say that. But in terms of the sets themselves, the Anika are better. I'm sorry. I like the Mari, like, there's some parts where they look cooler, but they just make a lot of really questionable decisions, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, this is coming from someone that, you know, worked on Ignition 1 and 2 with, like, the voice acting. So, I have fully gone on board with, like, trying to get into the Mari stuff. You know, I had all the sets. Like, if there's anyone that should be a Mari fan, like the #1 Mari fan, it should be me. But, yeah, I just prefer the Anika, and that's fine. Alright, Halo Enjoyer said, the Glatorian art should have at least had another year to get fleshed out and explored better than the first year. I think the first year just should have done a way better job. But, I mean, yeah, did it need more time? Yes. Do I think we should have gotten the Glatorian arc instead of just finishing off the brand smoothly? I mean, you can rewind to listen to my past takes about that if you want. But, again, the Glatorian stuff had potential. It never reached that potential. I don't want to become a broken record here, but yeah. Everything and anything has said Rudaka is not that hot. I mean, that's like your opinion, bro. Like, I'm sure you're gonna have people in the comments that are gonna get mad about that. Bus Feet with the Ryan Gosling Black Panther profile picture has said, "Love not being canon is good." I don't know. I just disagree. Like, it just. I just think love being cut out as like an emotion. You're just limiting yourself as a storyteller. And I know Greg doesn't like to focus on love in his stories, and that's fine. Like, you don't have to focus on it, but just saying that like there is no love at all. First of all, it already doesn't make sense with things that happen in G1 story. Even when Greg was like, I don't put love in my stories or whatever, Lego still kind of continued to put love and stuff in there. Like, I mean, Rudaka and Sidorak, like, they didn't love each other, but they were supposed to get married, and if marriage is a thing in Bionicle, then, like, doesn't that inherently come from love? So, I don't know. I know it's technically a different universe, so you can define marriage as whatever you want. But yeah, there's just a lot of things that are wrong with that, and I think love should be a thing. Again, I don't think it should be a focus because that's not the focus of the story, but it makes things more interesting. Like, everyone likes Huki and Maku, you know. People like Matao being horny in Bionicle 2 or whatever. Like, I don't know. Even Matoro, like, dying for his friends. Like, would you not say that that's love? In a way. You know, he died for, like, his friends. Like, that's pretty much as love as you can get. But this person says something interesting. Bus Feet, he continues to keep saying, why would Matoran need to feel romantic when they can't reproduce sexually? Yeah, I don't think love equates to sex, but, like, that's an interesting point to add on. Okay. Having Matao turn in 2005 would make absolutely zero sense for his character. His entire goal was to become a Toa again, and that was something Rudaka never offered Vakama. I mean, that's if you're going by what the story was after they already shut down that idea from Greg. But I mean, like, again, this is a broken record again. A lot of these Bionicle hot takes are just the same, but just reworded. Yeah, like, I preferred how it went, and I don't think anyone disagrees with that, unless they're Greg Varshti. Borok321, happy to have you here, bro. Toamata do have elbows. Their upper arms are just really short. Yeah, I agree. And we have the final hot take here from Master of Nothing, a longtime watcher of the channel. The Visorak are cuter than Puku, and the Toa Ignika are uninspired copy and paste designs. I'm assuming he's talking about Lee and Nika. And again, I know people immediately go to like, oh, clone. They're consistently better, so you can just suck it at that point. Sorry, bro. Okay, obviously I don't mean that. That was a little bit mean. The Visorak are cuter than Puku. Like, I mean, that's a take. I don't think I agree with that, but I mean, hey, that's a take. And that concludes this hot take episode of Toa Talk. I hope you all enjoyed it. I know these episodes aren't as frequent anymore, but if you want more of these, please subscribe. Please like the video. Please comment your hot takes and what you think about these takes in the video. And with all that being said, I'll catch you in the next one.